Monster Hunter Rise is a Magna Malo-sized Switch game. It's so anticipated, and now that reviews have finally arrived, is it the one? Does this game truly evolve the Monster Hunter formula? And is it a must-buy for Switch fans? Today we're digging deep into all the reviews. I'm going to give you a nice summary, show you what's great about the game, what's not so great, and help you decide if this is one to pick up on Friday. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. It's Monster Hunter. Ow! That's hot tea! Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. It's Monster Hunter Rise Day, and the reviews have arrived. You guys know I've been anticipating this one all year long, and I'm confident it's going to go down as one of the biggest, best Switch titles of 2021. But now with all the reviews in, what do they say after playing the game for dozens and dozens of hours? What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Smash that like button and let me know in the comments down below if this video changes your opinion on Monster Hunter Rise. Do the reviews we're about to talk about make you want to get it more? Or you think you're going to pass? I want to hear from you. Before we get there though, Niantic announced their newest Nintendo project, which is going to be a Pikmin walking app. Okay, I've been really excited for Pikmin 4 ever since Miyamoto said he was working on it years and years ago. I feel like I was 4 feet tall when that happened, and the game never arrived. We did get Pikmin 3 ported to Switch, which is great. That multiplayer is underrated, now online and more awesome than ever before. But where is the true sequel? Well, either this is going to be the stand-in for the true sequel, or it's going to gauge people's enthusiasm for Pikmin and maybe build some marketing might towards an actual sequel. Niantic are the folks behind Pokemon Go, but they said this game will not be really anything like Pokemon Go. It is much more of a quality of life, fitness type app that is going to help you walk with Pikmin. So if you're looking to get some steps after being stuck inside with quarantine, you can pre-register for this app now. But let's get to the big news of the day, which is Monster Hunter Rise. All the reviews have arrived, and it has an 86 on Metacritic. If you're a naysayer of Metacritic, it also has an 86 on OpenCritic, and I want to take you through some of the pros and cons of this game. There are a few outlying reviews that did not like it, and those are still worth examining, but let's dive in. The first one I want to highlight is from Eurogamer, who makes the boldest claim I have seen. This is the most exciting claim, but it's the boldest claim. They say Monster Hunter Rise is the Switch's best game since Breath of the Wild. That's like a mind-blowing moment, and that is a big quote to start a review off with. The best game since Breath of the Wild, that's the first game, and this is the best one since. The Switch has had an insane lineup, but Monster Hunter Rise looks to really challenge the giants in a monstrous way. Eurogamer goes on to say, it's all enough to make me believe that this really might be the Monster Hunter for all. And as much as World pushed the series into the mainstream, it's Rise that could yet propel it to be a phenomenon. And at the very least, it'll earn the series some new fans along the way. If you've been put off by the challenge, the investment, or even the action, Rise does its very best to smooth the path and open up Monster Hunter's charms to all. If you're already smitten with the series like I am, well, Monster Hunter Rise might be as good as video games can get. Now that's freaking exciting. That is absolute perfect praise. And a lot of players have wondered if some of the adjustments they've made, some of the simplifications, would dull the game. And from every review I've read, the answer is no. They found a perfect balance between opening the game up a bit for newcomers and still even adding depth for longtime fans. This is beautiful game design where they found just harmony. And that is usually hard to achieve. Now, some worry that because Monster Hunter Rise is on the Switch, would it suffer? Would it not feel as big or expansive or as important as the recent Monster Hunter World? Shack News continues saying, Monster Hunter Rise is more than adequate. Its inclusion of familiar and new mechanics and an all-new full-fledged adventure packed with new and returning beasties would be enough to make Monster Hunter Rise of note. That said, the fact that it can bring all of these things to the table and then play proficiently offline and online makes this a must-have for any player looking for a quality and lengthy dragon-slaying adventure you'll enjoy at home and on the road. Now we know the Switch's hybrid nature is actually a big boost for a Monster Hunter franchise that formerly was a handheld affair, and now you can do both online, offline, and most reviews were quite impressed with the online. Most said they really enjoyed it, and it just worked out quite great. In fact, the Switch hardware in general has worked out quite great for the game as a whole. IGN goes on to say, while the Switch's comparatively weak hardware means things don't look quite as crisp as I got used to with World, it's frankly remarkable how close Rise gets. That includes how well it generally runs, as well as load times that are shockingly fast, both in and out of hunts. Capcom also deserves a special shout out for making an online system that just works, letting you join the lobbies of your Switch friends with little to no hassle. Brilliant. I love this. The fact that they're getting as much as they can out of the hardware. Even though we're on the precipice of Switch Pro hardware, they are milking this OG Switch and making the game purr. All right, it looks great, it plays great, it runs great. Some reviews did note a few frame rate drops, but nothing that was going to impede your enjoyment of the game. And I love to know that the load times are phenomenally fast. That's like big news. I'm a huge Animal Crossing player, and trust me, those loads in and out of the game, in and out of buildings, after a while start to become quite the burden. And Monster Hunter, with far bigger and far more beautiful environments, I am pleased and impressed that Capcom was able to achieve the performance that they were able to achieve. And it's a good thing the online is as strong as it is, because there is an interesting nuance with the way the story of Monster Hunter Rise progresses. We get this note from Games Radar, who says the game's plot is divided into two paths of progression. It's kind of an interesting take, and some reviews were a little less excited about this, but most said it was workable. They go on to say there are two paths of progression: village missions, which are designed to be smaller, lower level fights to be overcome by solo players, and bigger hub missions, which require a team of hunters working in close tandem with one another to best. The single-player village missions wrap up decidedly earlier than the co-op hub missions, forcing players down a path of working together with online companions to see the conclusion of Rise's story. It's a puzzling design choice, especially for the Nintendo Switch, a console that isn't exactly known for its robust online infrastructure. And they're right, this console isn't known for that, but luckily MHR was able to get the most out of what Nintendo Switch offers. Now, I think it's interesting that Monster Hunter Rise is kind of almost forcing you to play both solo and cooperatively, but at the end of the day, I think that's kind of getting the most out of the Monster Hunter experience. Being able to have the satisfaction of taking down a foe solo is paramount, but then also being able to enjoy this game with friends, taking part in bigger hunts, and being able to take down some of the most nasty monsters with your friends. It's an interesting choice, and one that maybe isn't the most convenient, but I think it's going to help you get the most out of this game, and these glowing reviews kind of prove that. One of the things the reviews are generally low on is the new Rampage mode missions. These are those tower defense-esque missions where the big monsters come and are ramming their way into your village and you have to keep them out. So some of the reviews say that it was boring because the big baddies are just giant damage sponges, and others say that the missions get increasingly impossible to handle on your own because the AI just isn't that good. You will have some AI companions trying to fire off cannons and do a little bit of damage, but they're barely making a dent. And as the Rampage mode missions progress, you will need friends to help defeat these enemies. So the game isn't without any criticism, and shockingly, Game Informer did give it a 7.75. Now this is the complete outlier and the only negative review, or decently negative review, that I read, because they say Monster Hunter Rise is far from being the next definitive chapter in the series, which I think is an odd take given how much everyone else seems to love the steps forward they took, and feels like Monster Hunter Rise is the true realization, the best realization of what Monster Hunter is meant to be. And a 7.75 is still a good score. They say Monster Hunter Rise showcases its commitment to engaging combat with interesting new mechanics, but these changes aren't enough to differentiate it from previous titles. The review reads a bit more negative than a 7.75, but I think if you're a game developer and your absolute low-end score is almost an 8, you're doing phenomenal, so I wouldn't worry too much about this review. On the other hand, everyone loves the wire bug mechanics. The addition of the more fast-paced environmental traversal is lauded across the board. GameStop says the verticality afforded by the new wire bug mechanic has the most significant impact on Rise's exploration. This exciting new tool allows you to zip through the air by utilizing what's known as wire dashing. From here, you can chain moves together, mixing in wall runs with additional wire dashes to reach previously unattainable heights and traverse the environment at a rapid pace. The finesse it requires takes some getting used to, and you still need to be shrewd with the wire bug's forgiving cooldown to be successful, but it's an incredibly fun tool to use once you're comfortable with its demands. Other reviews go on to say that this actually increases the skill ceiling of the game because you can get really good with the different combat maneuvers that are possible now with these new wire bug moves. So I'm happy to see that the game zips along at a faster clip without losing any of its hardcore capabilities or potential. They just really have struck the perfect balance. I'll say it time and time again, this game seems to be just a beautiful fusion of everything Monster Hunter has been, is, and will be. And Polygon agrees. They culminate our review discussion by stating Monster Hunter Rise takes the accessible foundation that Capcom built in World and expands on it without breaking what makes Monster Hunter fun, including the deep combat and the feeling of progression as you defeat, skin, and wear one monster to fight the next. If World was the first step forward into a new era of Monster Hunter, Rise takes it even further. Monster Hunter World was a game I would recommend to friends, with some caveats, but Rise's gameplay variety and mobility, all fueled by that little wire bug, make it a must-try game for Monster Hunter skeptics and hardcore fans alike. And with that, we learn that Monster Hunter Rise is undoubtedly a must-buy on Switch, maybe the best game since Breath of the Wild, and it seems like it is absolutely the best third-party title the platform has ever witnessed, which is awesome because I've been so excited for this game, and all of these glowing 9s and even some of the 8s really indicate that Capcom did it. They delivered an exclusive Switch title that takes advantage of the hardware without falling victim to its limitations. They tuned this thing as good as it could get, and they brought elements from past entries and introduced new ones to create a game that rises above almost all of the rest. So there you have it. Monster Hunter Rise sure seems like a home run, and I'm super excited to play it with you guys soon. I'll have lots of coverage on the channel, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on that notification bell so you can see my videos as soon as they come. I cannot wait to dress up like a warrior, put on my helmet, and go challenge Magnum Malo. I hope to see you there with me. We can't end the episode, though, without our daily poll, and that is where the show must go. Big poll number 42. I try to post these polls every evening, so make sure to check my community tab so that you can be a part of the conversation. Last night I asked, because I really want those Monster Hunter Rise amiibo, and they're sold out everywhere, especially the big $25 Magnum Malo. Like, that's expensive, and he's huge, but I need him. And so I said, do you still collect/care about amiibo? And this was right about where I expected it to fall. 55% of you say, hey, the fad has passed. And I understand because Nintendo, they haven't really done much with them. I mean, they've released new ones for Smash Bros. And a few, here or there, but they haven't really taken full advantage of what amiibo could have been. They ended up becoming shelf decoration instead of physical DLC. And now we have like the Sanrio cards and things of that sort. So they're not even committed to the figures as being the foremost method of pushing their different properties, but 45% said I still love amiibo, and I am one of them. My collection is almost complete. I think I'm actually missing a few. I might be missing the Octolings from Splatoon 2 and one or a few Smash Bros. Characters, but I'm about to get my Banjo-Kazooie because I love that character, and I'm gonna try to find these Monster Hunter Rise amiibo, even if they don't do a whole lot. I love having my Nintendo armada, my entire army of awesomeness, my family of fun represented by these colorful based little creations, fun little figures, officially from Nintendo. It's a cool collection to have, and maybe one day the sealed boxes will be worth a lot. In the meantime, I love you guys a lot. Thanks so much for being a part of Good Morning Mario each and every weekday. I'll see you all again soon. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy out there. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Enjoy yourselves, be good to others, smile, and until next time, thanks again. Smash that like button to support. SwitchForce out.